On his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ron Hart takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow is contact again. Ron Hart is around.
Benny, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Hello everybody and welcome on to World Online Racing League PC Tier 2. This is Season 12 and we head to Jeddah tonight for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, a circuit which is designed for speed and more than just speed, blistering speed. My name is Jess Ball and joining me in the commentary box as per usual, we are back. It is Luke Etheridge. Luke, how you doing?
Thanks, Jess. Good evening to you. Good evening to everyone that is watching at home. Great to be back on the PC side of things after the issues that we've had. Hopefully we'll get a good race around Jeddah.
Yeah, it should be very, very exciting. Last time we were at Mexico, which I wasn't able to attend. I was on holiday, but thank you to Josh for filling in for me then as well. And I think it was quite a good race around there. Plenty of overtaking as well, and quite a few people getting their best results as well. And I believe someone new took the win that week, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It was quite a good race. Bogan taking a win. He was absolutely delighted with that. He seemed actually quite surprised when we spoke to him in the interview. Did a great job around Mexico. Lenny Popinta, though, taking a second place. Drake Dempsey in third. So Lenny just extending his lead in the championship. And of course, now with what we believe to be only 4 rounds left in the championship, it's still very close. But time's starting to run out. Drake's had a couple of races where he's not quite been at his best. Still got a podium in Mexico. So I'm sure he'll be raring to be back on form tonight.
Yes, indeed. Lenny Popinta actually leads the championship then with 135 points, closely followed by Drake Dempsey with a 15-point gap. Morgan Bourne and McLaren is third, which McLaren is on top of the constructors with Alfa Romeo in 4th position. But without further ado, we may as well head straight into the qualifying session then, because there's already laps about to get going on the board. So we've got 16 drivers tonight. Apologies about the late running, but we managed to get a lobby sorted anyway. As we've got, I believe, Leonard who's on a lap, we've got Drake Dempsey on a lap, and we did see in Tier 1 a few moments ago in their 4 qualifying session how hard it is actually to get a valid lap around here. And unlike Tier 1, Tier 2 did not race last season around Jeddah. The only people that did race around here, of course, is Lenny Popinta, who's currently in the championship. So Lenny Popinta has a bit more of an advantage compared to the other drivers compared to this track.
Yeah, he does. He's got that bit of an advantage. There's been plenty of time now, obviously, for the drivers to practice around here. They should be fairly used to this circuit. I'll be surprised if Jeddah comes as a bit of a surprise. It's been pretty much a mainstay in a lot of leagues. It does seem to provide really great racing for league racing. Whether it provides such as good racing in real life, I think is quite debatable. Although this was a very exciting race, of course, what we saw in 2022 with Verstappen and Leclerc and their little tricks in the DRS zone. I think it's a track they'll all enjoy. They'll all be looking for good performances. We saw times sneaking into the 125s earlier on in the full qualifying session that we saw in F1. Different setup, of course, here, so I will be surprised if we get times right towards that mark. But you can see already 126.7s from some of these drivers already starting to put in some decent performances.
Yeah, they are so far, as there's 27 corners around this Jeddah circuit. It's a quite long, twisty circuit as well. The second longest on the calendar, followed by Spa, which is obviously 7.004 kilometres. Jeddah's around about 6 kilometres, and we can see that Leonard has already invalidated is in lap anyways. We've got the two McLarens taking up 1 and 2 respectively at the moment. Then we've got the two Alpines coming out on their outlaps at the moment. JST, last season's champion, needs a point to prove after a few races where he wasn't as strong, but there's a few races where he performed very well last season as well, so we'll have to see if he does well on night races. He does good in night race in the past on this game, but there has been some occasions in the dry at least where he hasn't been that good, but hopefully he won't get a Monza type situation where it was rain towards the end and nobody knew what the weather was going to be like. And people may say, oh, it doesn't rain in Jeddah. Well, if you take us back to PSGL Tier 1 a few months ago, it did rain in Jeddah, and I think everyone was quite shocked about that. But I think it hardly rained as Bogan actually hits the wall coming out of turn 27 there. Not ideal, but I'm sure people will have bear that in mind with the likelihood of it being rain for it to practice in the rain too. But so far it's looking like we have a dry session. Don't forget all tiers for Jeddah this week has been set to midnight for both quali and the race, just so we can get a replica of what people or the real life drivers experience in real life with these type of conditions.
Yeah, it's I doubt that I've done a lot of practice in the wets, to be honest, around here. Maybe just a cursory lap after what happened in PSGL. And just a reminder for everyone, which I've just been reminded about actually in the chat as well, because of the issues that have been going on at the moment, there will be a lobby restart after qualifying, as there does seem to be a bit of a bug with drivers being able to start the race on a different set of tyres than what they qualify on in the top 10. So that might just make things a bit more interesting. Of course, it does mean if you're in the top 10, you are going to get a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, so no alternate strategy pole position. I think hopefully a few people will remember that we will be having a lobby restart. I luckily just remembered as well. So thank you to whoever in the chat has just reminded of that as well. So I think they'll be taking qualifying a little bit more seriously, because it's not just Q1, Q2 and Q3. We're not having that in Tier 2 and any of the other tiers. It's just PC Tier 1 that gets that luxury. So short 18 minutes. They've already done 8 minutes already. So they've got the last 11 minutes or so to go until qualifying ends then. As JST, he is taking us round on a lap so far, and he's not doing that badly, but I can tell you that he's probably needs to go a lot faster if he wants to get inside the top 10. Just look at the way people ride the curves around Jeddah. If you don't get too close to the curves around here, you're going to get compromised so much lap time around here as well. I know people get scared of the curves on this game, but luckily previous patches have saved that, as JST unfortunately has invalidated, so you have to go again very, very soon. I don't think anyone else is on a lap. Capete is on a lap right now as well. Great to see also a few drivers coming from the Xbox tier here tonight as well. We got Harvey Cowan, who was in the Challengers just gone as well, and I believe he qualified for the Pro Exhibition as well. So he's making his first ever race, I believe, in WR on the PC side. Better to do it now rather than when you get to do it for the Pro Exhibition later on to prove yourself that you deserve a seat in an F1 esports team. So Harvey doing the right thing there. He's currently sitting in 7th, 126.8, not that far behind P1, so good debut for him so far.
Yeah, good debut for him. He'll be happy with that. And like you said, I think it does make sense to spend a bit more time on this PC platform. There is the slight little differences. Obviously, the main one being it's much higher frame rates than what you can get on the PC compared to what you can get on the PlayStation, on the Xbox. I believe even on the newest consoles, it is limited to a consistent 60 FPS. Some of these guys with some of the rigs they'll be hitting, 200 averaging, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's not just a visual difference; it does actually have an effect as well with how the car handles with the force feedback. I'm not quite aware of how big of the difference is, as I generally haven't driven too much on the PC, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But they've just got to get used to these things. Most of the drivers, the top ones, do seem to adapt fairly quickly. Looks like Harvey's doing a good job of that at the moment. Leonard, he's currently 2/10 up on his second lap, and he's a driver who's been putting in some decent performances so far this season. 3 podiums in the last 4 races, a win in Italy in wet conditions. Again, I doubt we'll be seeing wet conditions here.
Nah, it doesn't look like it at the moment, because otherwise a lot of people will be going on the softs, and we did see a few people go onto the medium compounded tyres for the start of their qualifying run. So if if it was going to be wet, I think a lot more people will be going on to the soft pretty much as well. So we shall see. So Leonard then, like we said, has picked up a few wins. He actually benefited from a very good result in Monza as well. So let's see what he could do then in this final sector towards turn 27 then. Very, very close to the wall, but not as much as we've seen in Tier 1 earlier on in qualifying. So what can he do then? It is pole position by just under 1/10 of a second over Morgan Ball then. So he's looking like the favourite so far, but we can see quite a few people going extremely quicker on their lap times. There are yellow flags, but they're just people moving out the way. Hopefully there won't be any mistakes, but they are prone to making mistakes around here. But in the top tiers, it shaped to be some very close racing. Who remembers how close it was in PlayStation Tier 1 last season with Sam Corby taking the win on the final lap as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on as Drake Dempsey hits the wall for good measure. I think he's lost a bit of time there. I don't think he's going to improve on his 1:26.7. Oh yes, he does. So I think he would have had a little bit more time if he didn't graze the wall too much. But yes, he's on pole position. Leonard in second, Morgan Ball in third, Leroy Brown in fourth position, and Bogan in fifth position as well. We got Pezzo in sector 3. What about JST starting sector 1 at the moment? Lenny Popinta, one of the championship contenders, your championship leader, he hasn't set a lap time yet, which is far from ideal. And you're seeing the likes of Drake Dempsey and Morgan Ball being up there, and with him not being up there, to be honest, he's got a lot of pressure to contend with here today. Turn 27 he goes. He sees Leroy Brown up to the line. He's on pole position. What can Lenny Popinta do? Can he be the fastest man on track? No, he can't. Only P3 for him, but still 6 minutes left to go. Still time to be found. He may not be on the lowest fuel yet.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely time for an improvement from Lenny Popinta there. Had a couple of grabs at the steering wheel on the way through turn 27, where, of course, Max Verstappen, that we almost had the lap of the century last year. 26 corners, it was perfect. Turn 27, it all just went wrong for him. So, yeah, I've just seen JST clip the inside of the wall coming through turn number 22. Straight away sent him over to invalidate his lap. And that's the interesting thing about this circuit. There's quite a few corners where the track limits is the inside of the curve rather than the outside. So it does look as though the drivers can cut the corners at various points, but it's something the game allows them to do. It's something that they're allowed to do in real life around here because of the way the curves have been laid out. And it is consistent for everyone. There are still definitely points of the track that you will get caught out, though, with the track limits.
Yeah, you will, and I have to say, the stewards have been keeping an eye on it throughout all of the tiers this week as well. The stewards were posted on the Discord earlier on as well, so no excuses, of course. Us commentators will be keeping an eye on it as well, because there are some where the game could be very lenient on you taking that corner, but in WR, that's not allowed to take that corner that way. So there are some people that want to do definitely a lot better than obviously what the game can do at the moment as well. And who remember what we saw with Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc? They've been battling quite a bit in real life this season, and also around Jeddah too. Could we see something similar for our two championship protagonists of Drake Dempsey and Lenny Popinta? Maybe Morgan Ball as well could get up there. We will see. Towers unfortunately invalidated his run. JST has done so as well. I don't think anyone else on the lap unless you're Camille Statua. Yes, Camille Statua is on the lap. He's currently in the 11th place at the moment. Surely he wants to be inside the top 10, because the top 10, well, you want to be starting on the soft tyres, but outside the top 10 you get free choice of tyres. So I wonder if he's sandbagging a little bit, or I wonder if he wants to get as high as he possibly can. We shall see. 126.5. He's saying he wants to go as high as he possibly can. He puts him into P6, which is only a few tenths shy of Leroy Brown as well, and just 1 tenth shy of, actually a few hundreds shy of Leonard as well in P5. So not too shabby for him. Fritzen, he's backed off his lap. Obviously, he's on his in-lap. But Leonard, he's going out one final time. Then he's going out a little bit earlier than intended. And I guess he wants some clear air, I presume.
Yeah, I want some clear air. Obviously, maybe put a bit more fuel in the car. Can possibly do a couple of, well, can attempt a couple of laps. Whether he'll have enough ERS to do the 4 laps is another question. I just saw JST getting it wrong on his way into the pit lane there, trying to obviously practice his pit entry for the race. He'll be hoping he doesn't do the same thing as he's just done and end up clipping the wall. It amazes me. We've got, what, the most complex track, you could arguably say, on the game. 27 corners. It is one of the longest circuits. Top 12 drivers at the moment, separated by less than half a second. It always amazes me how close drivers are, not just in WR, but across all different leagues. It amazes me how close everyone can be at the moment. Leroy Brown is leading. Great job by Harvey Cohen in second. Drake Dempsey in third, but importantly for him, he's ahead of his championship rival. He's ahead of Lenny Popinta. I think we will see those two battling, similar to Verstappen and Leclerc. The big difference will be, I'm not expecting them to be on their own.
No, I don't think they'll be on their own either, to be honest, as well. And because the track is so long in terms of race distance, we were expecting the gaps to be a lot further behind compared to some people. Whereas in this track at the moment, it is very, very close. We saw that in Tier 1 as well. But we would like you to tell me your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to be getting pole position then for today's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. At the moment, it's going to be Leroy Brown, but the top four separated by just under a 10th. This is F1 Esports. No, this isn't F1 Esports, but this is a tier closer to the top guys in PT Tier 1 who are currently racing at the moment. 2 minutes and 28 seconds on the clock. Everyone is going out for one final time, but the one who's still out on a lap then is Leonard then, as he heads towards some corners, which is quite hard to do on this game as well. This tight little hairpin as well, so hard to get right, but he nails that to perfection. He's going to get a bit of a toe as well from Taz. I wonder if Taz has blocked him a little bit going out of that section as well. Majority of this circuit is high speed, and it's not going to be good for your ERS, so you really got to be saving your ERS management around this track, because otherwise these drivers could be in a lot of trouble. But Leonard then, the Alfa Romeo driver who's looking to continue his mark at the moment, he has invalidated though on his run. Doesn't look like he's going to improve right now, but he does have time to go again, so that's why he's backed off.
Yeah, that was looking like a good lap. It's just got a bit too brave, I think, coming through turns number 22 and 23. We said you could skip the track limits a bit. Nowhere near as much as what he's just managed to do, so unsurprising to see that he has invalidated that one. Sergio Sabrino's not too far off finishing his lap at the moment. He is improving a tiny bit, but still needs to find 1.5 tenths to get himself up onto the provisional pole, well, into the top 10 at the moment, which will still get you a fresh choice of tyres, but you will have to start on a set of the softs. Williams driver heads around the final corner. DRS open. Looks like he's going to be the first driver to set his final time. And saying that, he decides to dive straight into the pit lane. So 12 is the best that Sabrino is going to do.
Yeah, it is. Not ideal for him because you're not going to have time to go out again. So he will be retiring at this moment in time. We've got a Red Bull who's about to start his lap, or it might be Jane actually, he's about to finish his lap with currently sitting in 13th position, so they're going to be going out one final time. But Peto in that AlphaTauri is doing quite well, but surely he needs to find a 10th or two to get into pole position. He's just so close. Jane, Mark, JST and Taz are the only people that are not close within 3 or 4 tenths of everybody else. So if they want to get a good result here today, because the top 10 score point in WOR, well, Sergio will not be in that club at the moment because he's currently retired from the session. We've got a Mercedes who's about to start his final run. That is Lenny Popinta. We'll see if Taz is going through the final sector now. But Peso up to the line. That is P2 for the AlphaTauri driver. Not that far from Leroy Brown, actually. We are starting to get some very competitive times for some drivers that you're not expecting. Peso's backed off anyway, so that's the highest he can achieve in that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it is. Just looking at some of the other laps at the moment, Morgan Ball's done a fantastic middle sector, 2 tenths up on his personal best at the moment, so this could be good enough to get the young Welshman onto the front row with the grid. Leroy Brown is invalidated, so that 126.376 from the now reserve driver did take part for Alfa Romeo early on in the season. That is the best that Leroy Brown is going to do because he's not got enough time to get around and take the checkered flag. Yoni Tripkov takes the checkered flag, finishes down in 13th at the moment. Morgan Ball in the McLaren towards the line, shoots himself up into 4th at the end, less than half a tenth of a second off that provisional pole position. Things are really starting to get tight and close at the moment. Fritzen has invalidated last week. Well, the Waves winner the last time we came around in WRR has invalidated. Can the championship leader get himself up the order?
Well, we will have to wait and see. We've got Lenny Popinta versus Drake Dempsey then. At the moment, the times are just so close, we don't know who's going to get it. It's just a small margin for error right now, but we will keep an eye on Lenny Popinta's time. Can he get into pole position? Yes, he can at 126.2, but can anybody beat him. We've got the Ferrari of Mark 313 who has invalidated, so he won't be able to improve. His teammate Bogan goes into the pits. We've got the Aston Martin of Camille's stature. He's up to the line in ninth, but Harvey Cowan on his first race in PC tier. 126.206. That is a statement there to show Xbox drivers could do just as well as PC drivers. Lenny Popinta can't match the time. He can only manage in a P2, and I think the only people that can improve is Taz, but he's backed off. Mark is obviously backed off as well. Leonard, can he improve? Nope, he cannot. It may be Capete. Nope, he's backed off as well. So it's Harvey Cowan on his first race on PC, getting on into pole position. Now, that is a statement right there.
That's an absolutely fantastic job there by Harvey Cowan. Superb time from him. Drake Dempsey actually did well to get himself up into 4th place, finding a bit of time at the end of that lap, because he was down coming through the middle sector. It looked like he was going to be starting a long way behind his main championship rival. He's still going to be 2 places behind him, but he's of course directly behind because of the grid slot. So definitely a chance there for Drake Dempsey to maybe still close that gap in the championship. Just have to wait and see how things go. I'm really looking forward to this race.
I love Jeddah on this game to commentate. Not necessarily racing, but I love commentating on it. And this one is no exception. I remember commentating on PSGL Tier 2 a few months ago, and it was absolutely exciting. So with the grid this close, I think it's going to be even more exciting. Not going to lie. The top 3 separated by less than a 10th, as well as Drake Dempsey and Capete. We got Peso, Morgan Ball, JST close together. We also got Leonard, Satura close together as well. Now we got a nice battle between Bogan and Fritz, and that could be in this race as well. We've got Sergio and Jane also in the battle as well. Taz, I feel like will need to improve a little bit, but we will look at the qualifying results before we get sorted with the next, the race lobby, so that everyone will be on fresh tyres. So it'll be Harvey Cowan then on pole position then by just 4/100ths of a second over Lenny Popinta. Then we got Leroy Brown in 3rd position. We got Drake Dempsey in 4th, Capete in 5th, Peso 6th, Morgan Ball in 7th, JST in 8th, Leonard 9th, Camille 10th, Bogan 11th, Fritz in 12th, Sergio in 13th, Jane 14th, Taz 15th, and Mark 16th. Mark was on the medium, so he didn't set his best lap time on the source at all. So a lot of time to be found for him, but we are going to leave this next lobby then for us to get going for the race. But any surprises there, Lou?
I've not seen him a lot, so I suppose I am surprised by Harvey Cowan. I said the top guys can be fast on no matter what platform they're on. I'm not expecting one of your first races on PC to take pole position. That was a superb job by him. 126.208, leaving it there right at the death. I suppose on the other hand, I might have expected Bogan after a few weeks ago to be higher up the grid, but I suppose still, 11th place, starting on a fresh set of the medium tyres. He has got that possibility on the alternate strategy.
Yeah, but he has, and I think there's a few people that were out of position as well. I'm sure Lenny Popinta will be disappointed that he didn't get that pole position, but knowing that he was that close as well, then surely that will give him a bit of confidence going into the race. But sometimes when people join last minute or join as a new driver in the PT tier as well, if some of the drivers actually see them on pole position or near the front, they may be right, because it's usually the change of the old guard, and it usually helps them step it up a bit as well. Usually we were expecting Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen to be the championship contenders in real life. We're not seeing Lewis Hamilton being the contender for the title this season. It's Charles Leclerc as well. So we're seeing something similar here as well. And with Harvey up top, that is stealing precious points to people that could be up there challenging for the championship.
Yeah, it is. And that's sometimes what happens. You get to the end of the season, new drivers come in with no real expectation of taking the title, because of the way things are going at the moment, they're not really in this championship battle. They're sort of nice, footloose and fancy free, I suppose, for want of a better word. They've got no real pressure on themselves, so they can just go out and drive freely, and it's can be frustrating for some of the other drivers.
Yeah, it can as well. So we're about to get running with our next lobby. So hopefully the drivers will be raring to go and joining us very, very soon as well. But Yes, we'll go through your championship standings, actually, whilst we wait for everyone else to join the lobby. We should be expecting 16 drivers to join too as well. It looks like quite a lot of people have joined very, very quickly. So thank you to all the drivers for doing so as well. And it will help if I turn my camera on as well whilst I do that. So like I was saying, our championship leader this evening, coming into the race after obviously the long break week, is Lenny Popinta. He's sitting on 135 points. If I just find the correct scene, because I almost had the wrong scene for the time being. Oh, there we go. So we got Lenny Popinta then on 135 points. Then we got Drake Dempsey on 128, Morgan Ball on 103, we got Lennon on 67, JST on 53 points, we got Chandler Sider, who's not here tonight, he is on 48. We've got Jonah Martins, who I believe has fallen asleep, bless him. He's on 38 points. We've got Bogan on 33. Camille Statuer on 31. He's in the Aston Martin for the rest of the season now. Vieta on 38. I said that wrong, but who cares? He's not here tonight. Tad's on 28. Leroy Brown is on 26. Mark is on 20. Yep, he's on 20. Then we got Marcus Towler, who's reserved now on 17. Mateo on 15. Jerned Duzvan on 15. Paso on 14, we got Sergio on 12, Paul Ekelmar on 11, Danny Lusink on 10, and we got Hazif, David, Sunchik, Harlan Marquez, James Rombus, and loads of other people within single digits as well. So quite a close championship, but surely it's between the two McLarens and the Mercedes, really, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks to be that way at the moment, and that, I'd say Morgan Ball's going to need a bit more of a, to be nice, I think he's going to need a bit more of a miracle to get himself up there, but miracles do happen, especially on street circuits. If there's anywhere where we're going to get a bit more of a mixed up result, street circuits could definitely be the one.
Yeah, but exactly. Remember, I think we've had in WR on the Xbox side as well, where we've had street circuits kind of put a span in the works as well. I think I took part in a few races as well, where just finishing a race around a street circuit cost me to get a good result, whereas a lot of people falter. But luckily in WR, it's standard damage rather than simulation, because I think a lot of those I believe we've got every single driver that's meant to be here in the lobby. If you can correct me on that, Luke, I think, shall we get going then for the race?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long. It's just my brain's trying to work as fast as it can at the moment.
Oh yeah, you're doing the grid. Oh yeah, you're doing the grid, aren't you? Sorry.
Yeah, we're just setting up at the grid at the moment, which I think is right. Then I'm going to check for settings, and then we'll be able to hopefully get this race underway. So shouldn't be too long, thankfully. I think for everyone concerned, it is known for being quite a fast and furious race, this one.
Yes, and I do believe as well that the weather was dry for the race anyway, as planned in the lobby. So that's good news for all involved as well. So that's why the weather is set to clear as well. So as soon as the grid is set up, we will get going. Let us know your thoughts in the chat, guys, on who you think is going to be getting the position for the win as well. Obviously, usually starting on pole is good around street circuits, but sometimes it's not. If you're starting around in the middle, I would say, definitely not in the position to be in. But since we got a lower turnout compared to previous races, then maybe starting near the back is not too bad. So you either want to be starting near the front or near the back. You don't really want to be starting in the middle.
No, you don't. It all the concertina effect. You know, some say accordion, some say a slinky. I might be both of those people that say that. Yeah, it can definitely cause chaos in the middle, but in this corner, thankfully, there's a lot of runoff area in turn one, so you are able to make your way around. It looks like we are good to go.
Yeah, I think so as well. So I will let you give the ready up call as well. So don't forget, it is Harvey Cowan on a pole position for his first race on the PC side in WR as well. And don't forget, you can check our main sponsor, Grid Rival, as well. You can click the link in the description and join the WR F1 2022 Fantasy League. So if you want to check that out as well, please feel free. It is not too late to do so. And if we find out what happened, obviously, in Imola, we're not going to spoil things too much. You may want to obviously make a few changes then. So the timer is counting down on the screens then for the race about to begin, which is good news. So without further ado, I'm going to be getting all my stuff set up. But Luke, I'm going to throw you under the spot here. Predictions for the win.
I'm going to go for a championship leader, I think, which second place, I think, maybe just might have that bit more consistency because he's more used to the platform. I can guarantee one thing, though. There's going to be plenty of lead changes. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a drag race towards the finish line for the win.
Yes, indeed. So, without further ado then, let's have a quick familiarisation of the track itself then. So obviously, we just had qualifying and we're about to get going then for the race. This was the first time that Jeddah was used on the Formula 1 calendar, was last year in F1 2021, and it was towards the end of the calendar last season. This season in real life, it was during the second round of the season as well, and it was definitely a spectacle. In real life last season, there was a lot of red flags, whereas this season, it was a lot cleaner. Hopefully, we'll expect to see a lot cleaner races tonight. 4 changes for the lead on the final lap in to top tiers last season, the only tiers actually, where it was raced in Jeddah as well. 27 corners around this circuit today, and with a few detection points and it's a few banked left-handers with overtaking opportunities. Circuit turns back on itself, leading to more flat-out kings through corner 14 through 17. We've had 2 race winners from Jana Ottmar and Sam Corby, who won in PC Tier 1 and PS Tier 1 respectively. And we will be getting in to find out the action points for this very circuit. So these were all last lap battles, and Sam Corby during a last gasp battle for the win there, which I have to say was quite remarkable. And who remembers Tom Martinez on the PC side? He did something similar, not quite for the win though, but he snatched his second place off Jeffrey Ritchie then, as Jana Ottmar took the win that day, and it was a very, very good race indeed. So Jeddah always likes to bring spectacles here at WOR and any race league you go to. So we are about to get going then, as the clock is counting down there for the start of the race. It'll be interesting to see what tyres people go on for this race now, and we will actually check right now for you. So obviously the top 10, they will have to start on the tyres that they qualified on, which will be the softs. But everyone outside the top 10, unsurprisingly, have gone for the medium tyres. And as tradition dictates, in most league races I've been in, it's always been soft to medium, so I'm expecting it to be the same tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm really hoping that we get a bit more variety of on F1 2020, on F1 22. I need to remember it's not going to be called F1 2022. That is going to take some getting used to after the last, 12 games on Codemasters where it has had that name. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how things go at the moment. Wait and see how this qualifying session is. Hopefully, it should be a really good race. Soft to medium strategy as we're expecting. Maybe the possibility of safety cars.
Yeah, I think we could get some safety cars tonight, and I think I'm predicting there's going to be at least one. I don't think there's going to be more than one, but I'm expecting to be at least one. But you've seen the AWS strategy popping up on your screen. There's a predicted strategy for laps 10 to 13 to go on to the mediums as well. Softs can last around about 13 laps around this track, but people will be trying to go for the aggressive undercut. But we've seen people in the cars go for the aggressive overcut, and that has worked. So it does really depend on pace and whether they want to go for the undercut or the overcut as well. But if you've got some clear air, you've got the time your undercut to perfection, because if you do come out in traffic, that is when the overcut starts to work.
Yeah, it is. That's when the overcut starts to work. It's, Monaco's a street circuit where we normally see drivers go for the overcut. On this one, there is that possibility to overtake, of course. 3 DRS zones, not quite matching up to what we see on real life. We do have a DRS zone on the game in towards turn 13, that long banked hairpin at the end of the first sector, which is what I enjoy, actually. I think it's probably better than the one that they actually use in reality on the run down towards turns 22 and 23. So be interested to see how things work. Be interested to see if we do get any of those DRS games with the leaders. Seen it happen in another race this season where there has been contact because of that happening. Fingers crossed we don't get anything quite at that level.
Well, there's been a few chaotic races due to the fact there was rain, but luckily we're not going to have rain here in PC Tier 2, and it's been a while since Tier 2 has been racing, almost a month. The last time we raced was on the 3rd of April around Mexico, and we are about to go racing again for the first time in 3 weeks right now. There's Harvey Cowan on pole position, Lenny Popinta alongside. Who's going to get the best getaway? We'll have to wait and see. The 5 red lights are coming on. It's a long hold, but we are underway, and Harvey's got a very, very good start. Let's see who else got a better start as well. I think the two McLarens are being edged down a little bit. Morgan Ball's had a very poor start. Drake Dempsey's had a very much better start as well. JST has made a few position up into 5th position as well as they make their way towards turns 3, 4 and 5. Then a swooping 180 degrees right-hander then as Sergio Sobrino has already made a few positions to start as well, up into 12th position. Not many chaotic issues so far then, all within this train, which is very, very crucial. Looks like Drake Dempsey was going to go for the move just a second ago as we head towards a hairpin. Doesn't look like it though right now. He's staying put though at the start of sets 2. What about Bogan as he tries to defend on the inside of Sergio Sobrino as well? And we also got Jane right on the back of this as well. The more people start to fight, the more people behind will start to catch up as well, and this is crucial. They get those positions going in the opening laps.
Yeah, it is. People who have got positions going in the opening lap. JST and Carlos Tachova, both of those up 3 places. Peso dropping down 3 as, oh, Jay really far wide. Maybe that's why he's gaining 3 places. He seems to be making his own track up at the moment. Got himself a 3-second time penalty already. We'll be seeing a few more of those. It's never a good sign, though, if you've managed to pick up 3 warnings in the opening laps, as Harvey is still in the lead of this race. Lenny Popinta all over the back of him in the early stages. Normally when DRS is powerful, drivers can be a bit reluctant to overtake in the early stages and leave it until quite late on. Whether Lenny will be feeling confident to do that with Drake all over the back of him already at the end of lap number 1, we'll have to wait and see. But a great start. Harvey, Lenny and Drake Dempsey, your top 3 at the moment.
Yep, it is. They are definitely pulling away from the rest of the field right now, as well as Leroy Brown is edging back on the top 3, and he's having his own DRS trying to contend with as well. But luckily, he knows that JST has got a time penalty already, which is going to give him some confidence so far as well. Fritzon's still been the leading runner on those medium tyres, but he's dropped back a little bit on Leonard. Leonard, though, he's going to try and go side by side into this middle part of sector 2, which is a lovely part of the circuit. Can he keep it clean on the inside there? He had to go the long way around for a minute there, and he did. Nice and clean, respectable racing between the two of them. Leonard is up into 9th position, whereas Peso is up into 10th position. Apologies if I get the corner numbers wrong, because there's so many of them as well on the track map. It's the wrong way around compared to the one we have in the game as well, so that's why I have to have it upside down. Lenny Popinta has got huge traction over Harvey Cowan in this final sector then, due to the high-speed nature as well. They're on similar ERS usage, but I'm noticing that Harvey is using more of his overtake to defend off Lenny Popinta. But look at that, Lenny Popinta's not even using overtake, and he's catching up to Harvey Cowan, so it shows how powerful the two is around this track. We saw that in real life too. So we'll see what Lenny Popinta can do on the first lap with DRS. 3 DRS zones on this game, completely different to what it is in real life, of course. I don't know why they changed it, but DRS is enabled now. Lenny Popinta not quite close enough to Harvey, but Drake Dempsey is close enough to Lenny Popinta. These 3 have got to get a move on. This is a titanic battle between the top 3. 2 of them are your championship rivals, which are P1, P2 respectively. Lenny is up first, then it's Drake Dempsey, but Harvey Cowan is the one who's spoiling the party at the moment and still doing an incredible job. Lenny Popinta has DRS, so does Drake Dempsey though. He's going to go do it on the left hand side as well, something similar to what we saw Leonard do a lap ago as well. Can he keep on the outside line? He does. Drake Dempsey up into P2, Lou.
Yeah, that all started coming through. I believe it is turns 9 and 10. Lenny had to get out the throttle, ended up going across that runoff area there, just lost all the momentum, and that allowed Drake Dempsey to get ahead. And that is, of course, a 6-point swing in the championship. There's still a few rounds to go. There's plenty of rounds of this circuit to go before we even start thinking about the next few races. But Drake's gained 2 places in the first 2 and a bit laps in this race. He's now got the DRS on this long curving run through 25 and 26 into turn number 27. And you can see there, doesn't look too interested about overtaking early on. Wants to make sure he's still behind at the detection point to give himself the DRS on towards the first corner. And he makes his way through. So that is Drake Dempsey into the lead of his race. He's going to have the DRS. I don't think Harvey Cowan's going to have a lot to defend with here, but he is in the slipstream. This might just allow him to hang on. Popinta down the inside. And it is the Mercedes who gets himself up into second. 1-2 in the championship. And now 1-2 in the race, but in the opposite order.
Yes, indeed. This is good news for Drake Dempsey because he's got to try and close the gap as much as possible. We already got retirement from this race in the pit lane, so Mark 313 has had a day to forget at the moment in the Ferrari. Spoiler alert, in real life, the Ferrari was first to retire in Imola, whereas Mark is the first to retire in a Ferrari around Jeddah as well, so this is a quite common factor at the moment. Does it look like Lenny Popinta's going to go for the move on turn 9 and 10? At this rate, at the moment, as we've had contact somewhere, Camille has lost a few places as well. Has he got damage there?
No, he hasn't. Morgan Ball just tapped the back of Camille Stachova there, trying a similar move to what his teammate tried the lap before. Wasn't able to make it work, and yeah, Morgan Ball just going down the inside. A little tap between them, and there was contact as, oh, Drake Dempsey's now down into 3rd place.
Yeah, so he's gone from 1st to now down to 5th. So he's been passed by JST, Leroy Brown, Harvey and Lenny Popinta then. So Lenny Popinta take the race lead. So I wonder if we lost it on traction. We don't know. But Lenny Popinta is just running away with it. JST is going to try and go the long way round, try and get past Leroy Brown there as well. But Leroy Brown tries to defend off the left-hand side. This is all guns are blazing right now. This battle's all over the show. This is amazing around Jeddah. We got Alpine 2-3. We got a Mercedes in P1 as well. Jay Dempsey's trying to fight back of Leroy Brown, and as they head towards turn 1, could this be 3 abreast into turn 1? Not quite. Lenny Popinta is able to increase his gap to everybody else as we've got yellow flag in sector 2. I think there was an issue with a Red Bull somewhere as well, and Statua has lost a few more positions unfortunately right now. But all that squabbling between Drake Dempsey, Harvey, JST, Leroy, Capete, Morgan Ball is allowing Lenny Popinta to be out of DRS range of everybody else. This is good news for Lenny, not good news for Drake Dempsey, but I think Harvey must be loving that because Harvey will get a dose of the DRS.
Yeah, Harvey will get the DRS, and Lenny just escapes at the moment, so that's really good news for him. This is where he's got to try and take advantage, see if he can build up a bit of a gap. Stachova seems to be all over the shot at the moment. I'm not sure whether he's overheated his tyres or whether he is having a few connection issues that are making him seem like he is all over the place. But yeah, been a not great start for Stachova on those soft tyres as well. He's now in with all the alternate strategy drivers. It is a big gap from 9th to 10th. The last car on the softs, well, the last car in the pack on the softs, and the first car on the set of medium tyres, which is Bogan, is now got Capete, who's dropped a couple of places. He's falling down the order slightly, so I wonder whether we've seen a slight mistake from him. And Harvey Cohen, again, I think choosing not to go for this move down towards turn number 27. See if he can do it on the DRS down towards turn number 1. Not the greatest of exits, though, from the Alpine driver, all over the back of Drake Dempsey. I don't think Drake's going to have anything to fight with here. That is Harvey Cohen up into 2nd, and can JST make it 2 Alpines past the McLaren in one let go down the inside? Go goes Jay. Drake's going to try and hold it off for the inside of turn number 2. I think Jay's just going to have to yield possibly in this one. He's still going to be side by side. Someone's going to have to give up, otherwise there will be contact. Jay realises he wasn't far enough ahead, and it's only 1 Alpine that gets ahead of Drake Dempsey. The McLaren down into 3rd.
Yeah, so Drake Dempsey's race has gone from bad to worse right now, but sometimes you've got to be there to pick up the pieces and get some points still, even if you don't win the race. And I think Drake Dempsey could go for a damage limitation stint at the moment and really start to push on the medium tyres later on. Hopefully he'll be better on his tyre work. But look at this, he's already under pressure from the Alpine drivers. Once again, he's been under pressure from 1, Harvey Karen. Oh, it's Drake Dempsey spun, and he's in the wall, and he's out of the race. I think I did a big commentator's curse on him, and that was a nasty crash there in the middle of sector 2. That was absolutely awful. I won't be surprised that caused a safety car because it's going to take a while for the car to clear. Luckily the marshals did a teleport session and was able to get the car quite quickly, so no safety car, but that is allowing Harvey Karen to pull a nice gap over his teammate. But I was not expecting that from Drake Dempsey. Our main championship contender is out of this race. This is huge advantage for Lenny Popinta now.
Yeah, big advantage then for Lenny Popinta. Drake Dempsey out of this race. He's been struggling a bit, and I don't think he's played the F1 game too much. And I am just hearing actually from Mark, and I didn't spot it, he actually didn't load his setup. This is the danger sometimes when, games, when you have to have the restart on the F1 game, sometimes setups don't load for whatever reason, especially if you're too busy sorting the strategy out. So Mark, driving around with no setup, I think realised he had no pace, realised he might be a bit more of a danger, and choosing to retire. It's been a dream race from Popinta so far. He's in the lead of this race, 6/10 of a second. Harvey Cohen and Leroy Morgan got that DRS train building up once again on the top 7 on the softs. So it's not going to have it all his own way.
Nope, he's not as well. It's not about where you start, it is where you finish as well. Leroy Brown and JC, the top 5, they pit penalties outside the top 10. Sergio Sabrino, Jay Tripkoff, and Taz has picked up penalties. Everyone has gone completely clean. Capete, I believe, had to pit for the mediums, but he may have to pit one more time because there's no way those mediums are going to get to the end. We got another retirement of Taz, and that is... I'm just trying to see where that is. That is the start of Sector 1, actually. So, just before you go into Sector 2. So, I think it's around about Turn 7 areas. So, that is 3 retirements out of this race. 1 retired in the pit lane, and 2 are retired on a track with some nasty crashes. So, don't forget the top 10 do score points, which has people more of a chance to get it at the moment, which is good news for Capete because he is back in this race. Meanwhile, the other Ferrari is doing very well in comparison to the other Ferrari who's out of this race. He's been under pressure from Camille, and we're starting to see the crossover point between the softs and the mediums right now, but Harvey Karen takes the lead into Turn 1 from Lenny Popinta. He says thank you very much, and he's now going to be controlling this race, maybe up to the pit stops, but I wonder, is he meant to do that? There's plenty of DRS zones to use, and I wonder, is Lenny Popinta using the tactic later on in the race? We'll have to wait and see, but at the moment, Harvey Karen is controlling this race. This has just been so many battles from all over the field. It's hard to keep up sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is what we expect of Jeddah on League Racing. We've all seen it plenty of times now. Lenny quite happy to let that move happen. He's got 20% more ERS, 20% more of that electrical energy that they gain when the cars lift off or go under braking. They'll be gaining quite a bit, able to sit behind Harvey and just allow the Alpine punch a great big Formula 1 sized car hole in the air there. So Lenny Popinta, I don't think he's too bothered at the moment. We might not be too far away before we do get some scheduled pit stops. We know we've seen Capete come in, and wouldn't be surprised if he has had damage. Taz retiring from the race. I've seen this before around here, and Monaco has something similar. You don't tend to get too many safety cars, even if there are accidents around this circuit, so the drivers might not be able to rely around that on the game. As Popinta, is he going to go for the move? He's not, and I think that's going to allow Leroy Brown to take the pair of them round the outside into 27. Goes for Haas all the way around the outside. Is he going to have the DRS though on the run down towards turn number 1? Because that could be crucial. He is not, and I would not be surprised if the Alpine of Harvey Cohen is able to retake the lead of this race.
Yep, he is. He's going to make the move down into Turn 1 now. Lenny Popinta could go the long way round as well, but Harvey Cohen once again takes the race lead, but there's a few squabbles from the top 5 as well. Literally anyone in the top 5 could take the lead here at the moment, but it's Harvey Cohen that takes the advantage at the moment with Lenny Popinta in the P2. We've got Lennon, who's made his first pit stop. That is a bit early. He's going to go for a cheeky early undercut as well. We'll see if that works and pays off as well. He's got a little bit of clear air at the moment, but he's going to catch up to Fritzen very, very quickly. So I won't be surprised if any of the top 7 pit around the back now after this lap, just so they can take advantage of Leonard pitting and making sure that they can get that undercut work. They've got to push the most in laps as they possibly can right now as well, but you can start to see JST, he got past Leroy Brown on the last sector as well, so he took advantage of the squabble situation at the moment. I wonder if he's faster than Leroy Brown at the moment. Morgan Ball could get both of them as well, but not quite close enough. Again, all of them close to the curb. Leroy Brown was too close to the curb, and he got a time penalty for it, which is a bit of a shame. So I believe that's 6 seconds right now. We got JST, who's going to get Lenny Popinta, and he's also going to get his teammate as well for the race lead. 2 people in one corner just before turn 27. Nicely done, says the reigning champion, and that's going to help him when he goes into the pit. His teammate stays out. He goes in now to take advantage. I don't think he needed to do that, but he did it anyway. What a move from JST.
Yeah, similar to what we saw the lap before. You know, Harvey almost trying to let Lenny Popinta through to take the lead of this race. Lenny saying, you know what, I'll stay back. I want to get the DRS down towards turn number 1. And the third car just drives clean around the outside of the pair of them. I think Jay would have got overtaken into turn 1. Maybe wisely deciding, you know what, I will come into the pits. He has dropped behind Leonard, though. I think Leonard's going to have a chance to lead in this race once this pit stop phase is over. He's about 16.5 seconds behind at the moment. I'll keep an eye on the gap between those. I would expect Lenny and Harvey to think about coming in on this lap, and probably Kamil Sachova who is still in this medium train, not having a fun race whatsoever.
Nope, he is not, and I think he is one of the last of the soft runners as well, and it's not ideal. I think he's losing, I think, a few tenths a lap compared to everybody else, maybe not even that, maybe even a full second as well. So he really needs to push, get onto those medium tyres quickly, because otherwise he's definitely, I think, going to drop down into last position right now as well. So we'll keep an eye on this top three once again, because they'll still need to pit too as well. I wonder if all three of them will follow suit right now as well, and it's good to see the two Alpines doing very, very well. Finally, we're starting to see the Alpines working very, very well together, as Camille and Bogan were having a battle once again. I don't know why Camille is not thinking to pit yet, because he knows that Bogan is a lot quicker on those memes at the moment. We've got Lenny and Leroy, they're going in. Is Camille going in? Yes, he does. The only one who stays out, though, he's going for the overcut strategy, is Harvey. Not what I would have gone for, but again, you need the pace for it. Harvey's going to hope that the other people are going into some traffic, but we saw with the likes of Leonard, who have got ahead of most other drivers, as JST gets ahead of him on this lap as well. Can both of them get ahead of Lenny Popinta? Yes, they do. That signs really bad news for Harvey then. He may drop down into 4th or 5th place, but we will have to wait and see. He's probably waiting until the last possible moment to go on to those medium tyres. But they could get to the end anyway as well, but we could see another 5-6 car train until the end of the race, and I can't wait. But at the moment, your net race leader, it belongs to an Alpine driver. It's not Harvey, it is JST.
Yeah, JST though, of course, with that 3-second time penalty at the moment, everyone that has a penalty has 3 seconds apart from Leroy Brown, who is on 6. Sergio now, he's shot himself up to 6 seconds as well. Drivers finding it quite difficult to keep it clean, and Harvey, he's not going faster than Leonard and the rest of those drivers, but he's still pulling away from Bogan. He's really using all of his ERS at the moment, and who can blame him, trying to just get every last bit of performance out of the tyres, out of the car before he comes into the pit. You'd imagine though he is going to come out behind Leroy Brown in a net, that'll be like what, a net 6th, 7th place at the moment. He's going to have a lot of work to do on those 1 lap fresher tyres, and Harvey Cohen does come into the pit. We're now just going to see swapping, I think, between JST, Leonard and all the rest for the rest of this race. Leonard thinks about it all the way around the outside. Has he managed to do it late enough to get away with it? Bit of contact between himself and JST, and that's going to really compromise the Alpine. Gets passed by Lenny Popinta. He's going to get passed by Morgan Ball as well, and Leonard just got the DRS off the car in front, which was Fritzen, so he might be able to hold this race lead. Leonard is now in 5th. That is the next place lead, and you can see there Harvey Cohen has come out behind all of these drivers.
Yep, so I have to say then, if you've got a race coming up in WR in around Jeddah, it just goes to show the undercut is more powerful than the overcut, as long as you don't get in some traffic then. So hopefully that has given you all some ideas. As oh no, Harvey then, by just pitting a lap later, he's also got a 3-second time penalty, but his teammate is having a nice battle with Leroy Brown as well. Don't forget K-Mag in real life had a very, very good race as well. Was battling with quite a few drivers in the sprint race yesterday and in the real race today, well, the longer race today, as I should say, as well as Harvey's teammate. JST has got another 3-second time penalty as well, so time penalties are becoming to be a little bit more common here as well, which is good news for Leroy Brown, because I think this is going to be fighting for position then right now. So your net race leader, Leonard P1, Lenny Popinta P2, Morgan Ball P3, JST P4, Leroy Brown P5 and Harvey P6, but Harvey will probably jump both of these two very, very soon. I think we're starting to see JST get past Leroy maybe, but Leonard gets past Fritzen into turn 27 on those fresher mediums, no problem at all. Lenny is having a little bit more difficulties trying to get past him, so we'll see. Will he try and do a double overtake? Morgan Ball could try and do the same as well. He does, tries to get past the stricken Fritzen, as it were, as well. Leonard stays ahead just. Morgan Ball is either going to try and get a Lenny Popinta going towards turn 2 and 3. Pesto is now out of this race, unfortunately, as these two cars are almost gone off there a little bit as well. They are definitely pushing to the limit at this moment in time, clipping the curve very well indeed. You can tell these drivers have put in a lot of practice. We're pretty much halfway race distance right now as well, so this is going to be a sprint to the finish. Still 4 drivers still yet to pit, don't forget, and those are on the medium: Sergio, Bogan, Jane and Fritzen. Leroy Brown also gets past Fritzen too as well, so whenever Fritzen pits, he's going to drop it way down towards the back of the grid. But I do remember around here, around Jeddah especially, this could be a place where the alternate strategy works to perfection, because the softs are like gold dust around here.
Yeah, at the moment, you'd imagine Sergio and Bogan and Yanni probably going to come out around 10 or 11 seconds behind this train, and they should probably have 10 or 11 laps to try and get anything done about it. Gaining a second lap is never the easiest thing. The fact that those three are together should help, though, because they'll be able to use the DRS and maybe use a bit of teamwork as Jay and Harvey now both getting ahead of Fritzen, who unfortunately is not going to be able to make the alternate strategy work, as I think it's all kicking off at the net race lead again. Leonard and Popinta getting very close together. Morgan Ball trying to get involved in this. And Leonard, he's struggling on his ERS. This is really going to cost him in this race because Lenny and Morgan are doing a much, much better job. And you can see both of them managing to fly their way through as well. Very late on the brakes from JST there, almost going into the back of Leroy Brown. We're going to see this whole race. We're going to see this for the final 12 laps. We've got 12 more goes of final corner shenanigans here. I'm really looking forward to it as Fritzen now fights back on Harvey Cohen.
Yeah, I wonder if Harvey's struggling on this race pace at the moment because we're not expecting Fritzen on 13 lap on mediums to get past Harvey on fresh mediums then. So he's dropping like a stone right now and it's not ideal, and it just goes to show that he shouldn't have stayed out very longer. Well, starting on pole is very, very good, but that's where the points do not get rewarded. You do get points in the race. I am keeping an eye on fuel usage as well. Fritzen, he's got the yellow warning light. If you don't know what the yellow warning light is in a WRR, well, in league racing in general as well, it means you won't have enough fuel to get to the end unless there's a safety car. And I think that's what Fritzen is hoping right now. He saw two people crash earlier, which hopefully would have brought a safety car, which it didn't. So I think Fritzen is going to be in a bit of trouble if there's no safety cars, because there's no way he's going to get to the end otherwise as well. We'll see if anybody else is in danger of running out of fuel. Doesn't look like it at the moment. Meanwhile, Morgan Bull tries to do the little switcheroo on Lenny Popinta, but of course, Lenny Popinta wants, you guessed it, the DRS. Leroy Brown is right on this as well. He's going to try and get maybe all three of them into turn number one. One of them's got to back off surely as they make their way towards turn one. But look at that, Morgan Bull did a huge Danny Ricciardo dive bomb there. He's now on that race lead. He got past Leonard as well, and he was able to fend off Leroy Brown and Lenny Popinta. This is going to be a switcheroo for the rest of this race. Ideally, you want to be the one with the DRS and the toe on the pretty much the final lap.
Yeah, that's the way you want things to work, and you saw there, you're not able to get the toe enough to get the move done before the start-finish line. Morgan Ball, in the end, one of the few times we've actually seen the driver survive all the way to turn one in the last few laps since they came in. There, I was expecting a lot of fighting after the pit stops. I was expecting these drivers on the mediums to really be going at it hammer and tongs. I don't think I was expecting this much this early. I thought we'd have a few laps of patience before everything ramps up in the final 10 laps. We are in the final 10 laps. I'm not sure if this can ramp up any more, Jess, if I'm being honest.
It's been absolutely crazy, and I have to say, I hope WOR has Jeddah in next season, because it will be on the F1 22 game, I'm almost certain of it, but at least it will be available on launch, so more people can play it as well. But you know, it's hard to drive, but it's lovely to race on as well. Make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you like all of our streams so far as well. Of course, we've got Xbox Tier 1 on tomorrow night at 8 PM if you want some more Jeddah action here this week, and we also got all the other tier stream throughout the week. We've got the first of the medium runners into the pits there. Now it's Tripkov going in onto a set of the soft compounded tyres, but enough about that. We got Leonard versus Leroy. Morgan Ball's been swamped by both of them, but he's going to choose to cut back in towards turn number 2 and 3, but this is the Leroy Brown and Leonard show right now. Leroy Brown did what Morgan Ball did last lap. Leroy Brown is now up into the race lead now. He's going to trip and change at the moment as well. I don't know where I want to be right now. It's going to be up to from Leroy Brown to Harvey Karen for the battle for the race win, actually. But don't count out the ones on the softs, because they could be up there as well. I think they could gain about a second per lap on these guys as well, and I think it could be tough. But if there is a safety car, the soft runners could be back in it.
Yeah, they could well be back in it. Any slight contact between these drivers as well. Never know, Bogan's not got any penalties at the moment. Neither has Morgan, neither has Lenny Popinta, neither has Leonard. So you'd have to say they are the favourites just with how close things are. I can't see Leroy Brown being able to build a 6 seconds gap. I can't see JST being able to build a 6 second gap. And even Harvey Cohen trying to build a 3 second gap is going to be nigh on impossible. Just with the 3 DRS zones, it is extremely powerful around here. We've already got a taste of what it's going to be like on the next game with what the real life race was around this circuit. And there's Leonard trying to go all the way around the outside of Leroy Brown into turn number 27. I don't think he'll be too upset about the fact that he's not managed to make that move work because of getting the DRS down on towards turn 1. 8 laps remaining. There goes Leonard, going to be forced a long way round. Morgan Ball going to take the more conventional inside line. Can't quite get 2 in 1. And it is now Leonard, Morgan Ball, Leroy and Lenny Popinta. Your top 4. JST and Harvey Cohen. 2 Alpines just not really able to get involved in this lead battle at the moment. Stuck in this DRS train. Things aren't quite going to plan for them.
This is exactly the same situation we saw around Imola as well, where they just can't get past the likes of Lenny Popinta and Leroy Brown at the moment. But this is a track on this game which is a lot easier to overtake as well, and they'll be keeping it clean. I'm actually surprised, to be honest, that there's no safety cars, but knowing that there may be a safety car coming up, and I'll probably jinx myself there. But no safety cars, no VSCs right now as well, and it looks like Harvey Cowan is the faster of the 2 at the moment as well. Maybe just saving his tyre life for when he needs it the most as well, because you don't want to be using up too much of your tyre life that quickly as well, because the tyres can degrade quite quickly as well, as Harvey was trying to warm up his tyres a little bit as well to get his tyres up into temperature 2. He's used quite a lot of ERS actually just by being on this train. He's even using a bit of overtake now as well, so he's committed to the overtake, but I don't think he's going to do it. Morgan Ball's going to do the switcheroo like we were saying. This is quite conventional actually. Don't be surprised to see that right now as well, to see some people letting people through in towards turn 27, and then we'll see likely Leroy Brown or Leonard going for the move there. So keep an eye on Leroy Brown and Leonard as they make their way towards turn number 1. Morgan Ball is going to try and cover off for dear life, but there's just no response to any of that. Lenny Popinta's been swamped as well. Leonard almost got lost position there, but he just kept it there in towards turn 3, and Leonard still leads this race for Morgan Ball in second. Jane sets the fastest lap at the moment. I said the name wrong, but who cares? And they're having a nice battle between himself and Fritzen. And I'm just looking at that. Sergio is actually catching up to this train. It's not that long before he's going to be within the leaders.
Yeah, it's not going to be that long. And look who's the lead car now on the soft tyres. Bogan is only 4 seconds off this lead train. Harvey Cohen manages to make the move work down the inside into turn number 13. I said the DRS into there helps you get a few more overtakes, and he's finally got ahead of JST. He's got less penalties than Leroy Brown as well, so wouldn't write him out for a podium yet, especially if something happens with these other drivers just up ahead. He has got the opportunity. Leonard leading this race. I'm surprised he keeps going for the lead, because he's got less ERS than the drivers behind him, so might be a bit of a sitting duck if he really has to push on the final lap. He's going to find things quite difficult, but all this battling just seems to keep ending with Leonard at or near the lead. There you go, him just lifted off. I think maybe deciding I want my DRS down towards turn number 1. Morgan Ball sweeps around the outside, and he's going to have the lead probably for all of about 10 seconds here before Leonard, Leroy Brown, maybe even Popinta, Cohen and JSC think about going for it down towards turn number 1. There goes the Alfa Romeo down the inside of the McLaren. The Haas is going to follow through as well. We've now got Leonard, Morgan Ball and Leroy Brown still fighting with each other. Morgan Ball just holds on to that one as Capete retires in the pit lane.
Yeah, so no safety car then. That is his race done then. So I wonder if he's been so far behind that he's given up or something, which is a bit of a shame. We don't want to see drivers give up like that, but hopefully they'll be able to improve coming in until next week. Of course, we don't have that long to go until the end of the season, by the way, so they don't have a long time to improve on their race results. There could be some people that could be out of championship contention at the end of tonight, so that's why it's crucial that they get good results around here at the moment. It's actually not that long until the end of the race, by the way, and I have to say this has been a really good Jeddah race. I don't know what is it with league races around Jeddah. It's always been absolutely amazing. I've never had a dull race to commentate on around Jeddah. I think you can agree with me as well. It's all been super fantastic. It's all been super close as well. They've all been to the limits as well. And these drivers in the front are just showing pure respect out of everybody. And Leroy Brown is going to get past Morgan Ball right before turn 27. I thought Morgan Ball was actually going to go for the move there, but I think he realised from his mistakes that if you make the move into turn 27, you're not going to keep the lead. But with Morgan in P2, he could try and get past Lennon into turn 1. Is he going to do so? Well, he's going to try at least. Leroy Brown might have something to respond to that as well. Morgan Ball takes the race lead at the moment with Lennon in P2. Lenny Popinta still not able to get within that top 3, but I think he knows that Leroy Brown has a penalty, he will get a podium anyway because the people around him do have time penalty. And Bogan, 1.2 seconds behind JST. He's almost within DRS. This is going to get very, very tasty. Is it going to be the alternate strategy that works, or is it going to be the one that stays out? Is it going to be track position, or is it going to be softer tyres? I don't know. Watch until the end of this race because it's going to get very, very exciting.
It is indeed. Well, it's going to be interesting here because the first three we've seen swap around constantly over the last 3 or 4 laps. Popinta, Cohen and JST haven't really been able to do anything, haven't been able to make an effect on those top 3. So whether Bogan can do that on his fresher soft tyres, was one of the last drivers to come in for that set of softs, so he shouldn't have any worry about tyre wear at the end of the race. Let's not forget he won at Mexico, another track where the alternate strategy can be quite good, and you do see some alternate strategies working around there. Can he take what would be 2 victories in a row here? A fantastic start. He's only done 3 races. This is only his 3rd race in PSGL. In WOR, my apologies. So, yeah, he's done a fantastic job. As now, Harvey Cohen getting his way past Popinta, past Leroy Brown as well. I said those outside for top 3 were starting to struggle. You can scrap that one out the window as Morgan Ball takes the lead of this race, but Harvey Cohen is really closing up down towards turn number 1. He goes down the inside. He's now going to try and fight it out with Leonard. It's going to be interesting to see which one of these takes the advantage. Leonard is ahead. Harvey Cohen has the inside line though, but I think surely he's going to have to back off onto that one. So it's now Ball, Leonard, Cohen, Brown, Popinta, JST. Bogan is right on the back of these. And Sergio Sobrino and Camille Stachora not too far back either. At the top, what we got here, the top 9 drivers separated by about 5 seconds with 5 to go.
That is really, really good indeed. And the top 9, there are 8 different constructors in the top 9, I believe, which is absolutely amazing. 2 of them are Alpines, but then we got a McLaren in P1, Alfa Romeo in P2, Alpine P3 and 6, we got a Haas in P4, we got a Merc in P5, a Ferrari in P7, and we got a Williams in P8 and Aston Martin in P9. I think the only team not in that fight is pretty much AlphaTauri, and I think there's another team that is not here tonight either because we don't have a full grid, unfortunately, but we are about to see the final third. It's road as Bogan gets a penalty. That's not ideal with him being on the strategy then, which is good news for Morgan Ball and Leonard. So I think it's going to be between those 2 for the race victory. But we are going to see Harvey Karen trying to get the movement to turn 27. But I don't think that is what you want to do, Sunshine. But he does have the DRS. That is very, very good indeed. So he could get past Leonard into turn number 1. I don't think he's going to get Morgan Ball actually into T1 actually. Nope, he is not. So he's been forced to stay behind for now as well. So I think Morgan Ball is the first time where he's come out in the lead as they head towards turn 27 and he's kept it there.
Yeah, it is. That's the first time we've seen that for a few laps, and I think the last driver to manage to keep him towards the lead was Morgan Ball. So he's doing a pretty good job at the moment. Just seems to be able to get things right. I think helped by the fact that Leonard and Harvey Cohen aren't doing as well on their VRS. Morgan Ball's at about 45% as he opens his, well, as he passes the drag reduction system activation point. Not able to open it, of course. Harvey Cohen and Leonard were only at about 20%, so they are going to start clipping at some point on this lap, round around the final corners. You're going to see that happen, and this could just fall into their favour as Bogan and JST are going side by side here. This is very brave from Bogan, ends up having to cut across the corner, and there's been contact between the 2 of them. This could allow Sergio Sobrino to get involved in this mix as well. Feisty from Bogan, trying to use those soft tyres. He's managed to make that move work before we get towards turn number 22. He's only got 3 seconds of penalties, as that's JST now going way off the circuit. I've got to wonder if the Alpine's got some damage.
Yeah, he's slowing down as well. I can see he's losing so much time to the rest of the cars around him as well, and it won't be surprising if the Aston Martin can close in as well, potentially too. So, yeah, his race, unfortunately, his hard work has come undone, but that's all going to help his teammate then try and hold on to maybe a potential podium, potentially as well, as Leroy Brown and Lenny are having a nice battle for P3 of this race, and they could almost get Harvey Karen as well, but you got to be careful. People are on the edge getting time out. We've got Lenny Popinta versus Leroy Brown, T1 drivers from last season, and trying to make sure that they're showing that they're the best of the best at the moment. Lenny Popinta not doing very well in P6. He's been forced to cut the corner then as well, doing something similar to what we saw with JST at the moment. He's dropped down into 7th position. So both Bogan and Sergio has gone past and is in that DRS train. So the alternate strategy then for Bogan and Sergio has worked wonders. Shame about that penalty though, because they would have probably been even higher because of it as well. We got pretty much 3 laps to go of this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I kind of wish we had more. JC has picked up another penalty. I won't be surprised if he goes and parks the car soon, but to be honest, all it takes is one retirement and you get points. So I wonder if JST is just going to try and stick it.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, just probably chances of getting points are pretty slim at the moment, but there's plenty of cars close together. We've seen plenty of bits of contact as Navsashova gets himself a time penalty. There's always that possibility. There is always a possibility of things like that happening. Morgan Ball still leading this race, and Harvey Cohen, I think, has been happy to stick behind, happy to save a bit of his ERS, and that drop down the field with Pinter, it all started when Leonard and Leroy got very close together. Leroy got a bit of wheel spin. That allowed Lenny to try and stick it round the outside. Wasn't far enough ahead to really force Leroy to yield. Tiny bit of contact between the two of them. There you just see Lenny dropping all the way down the order as Shizu Fritzen is into the pits. This might allow JST to actually get ahead, and it will do because Fritzen has retired from the race. Bit strange to see with 2 laps to go when you're in the points.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there, because even just 1 point is better than nothing, and there you go then. JST is going to get points, so he did the right thing just by sticking with some of these guys and just keeping going when the going gets tough, because sometimes I've had races like that when I've just been running on my own, and there were a few times where I just wanted to give up, but if I gave up, probably there would have been a safety car when I retired, so yeah, you do not want to give up at this point in time, as well as Sergio is showing why the soft tyres are the fastest tyre to be on right now. He's on 6 lap older tyres, but he doesn't care. He gets past Leroy up into 4th place. I'm not entirely sure how many penalties Sergio has at the moment. Pretty much everyone from 4th downwards has a penalty. Harvey also has a penalty as well. Leonard and Morgan Ball does not. So as it stands, Morgan Ball will win this race with Leonard in 2nd position. The other position remains to be seen, and Harvey Karen gets the lead to turn 27. You don't want to be doing that. Morgan Ball could get the lead back into turn number 1. I'm sure Harvey is going to be a sitting duck in the final lap of this race as well. This could be 3 abreast going into turn number 1 then, as Morgan Ball retakes the lead out of everybody. I'm sure Lennon and Harvey would want to stay behind Morgan Ball just so they could get the toe in the final corner then as well. Everyone wants to make as many positions as they possibly can. All Harvey's got to do then is force the top 2 into making a mistake, and he can still be on for a podium. I think he'll be on for a podium anyway. I do believe he's got 3 seconds to his name, so he should be absolutely fine unless he doesn't get another one. I'm seeing Morgan Ball using a lot more ERS, not as much as Leonard though. He's on 16%, and I'm looking at Harvey's. Let's see how many ERS he has. He's on 48%, so he's doing the best out of the whole top 3, so he could be the one that takes advantage right now. I'm sure he's learned from his mistakes to not go for the move in towards turn 27. So we're seeing a different range of strategies. We're seeing soft runners versus medium runners versus people with penalties. Who's going to come out on top remains to be seen then. We're going on to the start of sector 3 very, very soon. Another twisty turn coming up at the moment. Most of this lap can be taken at full throttle between towards turn 27 as Harvey Karen gets past that. It's going to be very close towards the end of this race. I can't call it who's going to be taking P2, but we do know who's going to potentially get P1. But this is going to be a straight flag to the line then. Morgan Ball is going to take the race victory. Is Harvey Karen going to take P2? No, he's not. He's going to take P3. Leonard takes P2. Lenny Popinta takes P4. There's a car park towards the line there. Bogan takes P5. A brilliant result from him. Not quite the win he would have won it, but still some decent points for him as reserve driver. Leroy Brown 6th. Sergio 7th. Tritkov in 8th. And then we got Camille and JST to cross the line there. But what a race for Morgan Ball. That is crucial because his 2 championship rivals, well, they are behind him now in this race, whereas Morgan Ball, he's ahead of them, so that is huge.
Yeah, that's a big race from Morgan Ball. Really gets him back into things at the moment. I'm just going to quickly go through what the provisional championship standings are then after this race. 147 points for Lenny Popinta. Morgan Ball now on 128. Drake Dempsey on 120. So 27 points now separating the top 3 drivers. Morgan closing in to Lenny. He'll be extremely pleased with how things are going. Jumps up into 2nd overall And I don't think Drake will be too fussed about that. Retiring from the race, still almost within a race victory, Lenny Popinta getting forced down towards the end, and maybe might have been a crucial pass on the line against Bogan.
Imagine if Drake Dempsey was in this battle as well. I think that would have been huge. I think if more cars were in that fight as well, I think it would have been more of a Titanic finish. But, well, at least Drake is relieved that his teammate has won the race, so it's not a bad night for McLaren. And remember, McLaren scored the podium in real life in Imola. Well, they are replicating that around Jeddah tonight. 3 different nationalities on the podium, 3 different constructors on the podium, and we are about to go through your race results then. So it is Morgan Ball that wins. We've got Leonard in P2, Harvey in 3rd after starting pole, but I'm sure we'll be happy with that podium anyway. Lenny Popinta P4, Bogan P5, Leroy Brown P6, Sergio in 7th, Jane in 8th, Camille in 9th, JST in 10th, Fritzen in 11th, Capete DNF'd, unfortunately, so with Fritzen, and your other retirements are Peso, Taz, Drake Dempsey, and Mark. But what a race it has been, and hopefully we could go around this track in the future because it's amazing. I kind of wish it was on the calendar last season, but it was a 5-second penalty bug in the pit lane, which is why I think we never raced there in Tier 2. But yeah, what a race and what a story for Morgan Ball there.
Yeah, fantastic job for Morgan Ball to take that victory when he really needs to. A lot of drivers saying there was quite a bit of understeer there around the track, which is very interesting. It's been a common theme throughout qualifying as well. People were talking about the understeer. Morgan Ball didn't seem to be struggling too much, and it was interesting. He took the lead, just seemed able to stay there for the majority of the time when he did it. Of course, Harvey did fight back, had that 3-second penalty, and then ended up losing out anyway, but still a great debut for Harvey Cohen here on PC. On WOR, Morgan Ball closed it in on top of the championship. Leonard, I think, actually extends his lead in the end, despite not just missing out of a podium. Did Lenny Popinta, does extend his lead in the championship. He won't be too fussed out of that. Drake Dempsey retiring saw his main rival end up not finishing on the podium. So I think all things considered, even he won't be too gutted about how things have turned out, especially as he only retired from the race. Popinta was leading.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that just shows how close this championship is as well, going into the final few rounds of the season. And we are at France next week, I believe, a track which is very, very hard to overtake. But we do have a few people in the interview room, so we may as well drag a few people in as well. I can't remember where people finished as well, so I think it was Morgan Ball, Leonard and Harvey going into the interview room. We may as well start with the man who finished in P2. Quite a common thing to be on the podium now for quite a lot of the season. Leonard, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Leonard, a big congratulations on your result here tonight as well. Seems like you had a bit of fun with the likes of Morgan Ball, but you couldn't quite get the win there. Are you a bit disappointed, or are you happy with that result?
No, not really. I barely got to practice today, and to get a podium is honestly amazing. I qualified only in P9 because I messed up my lap. Yeah, I'm just happy. It's also a 1-2 for WOR with Morgan and P1.
Oh, yes, because you're in WOR Esports as well. Massive shout out to them as well. Talk us actually through your qualifying there, because obviously you don't like qualifying around Jeddah as well. Did that give you less confidence going into the race, knowing you had a rubbish qualifying?
A bit actually, but I knew I could pit lap 8. Most people would pit lap 9, and so I just undercut most of the people. Actually, I had quite a good lap in the end, but I just messed up sector 3, and so I only had a 0.5. I was on for a 0.3, 0.2. I don't know where that would have gotten me on the grid, but definitely further ahead than P9.
Yes, indeed. Talk us through the battles that you were having with Morgan, Harvey, Lenny Popinta as well. I see you were doing a little bit of DRS tactics there as well, just like Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc did in real life. Were there any moments where you feel like you regretted going for moves before the start finish straight?
No, not really. I was just pretty much confused for the whole race, because battling with DRS around this track is really difficult, and you gotta manage to somehow be ahead in P2 or somewhere, I don't know, throughout the whole race, because otherwise you just lose out, and it's really difficult to manage, because you don't want the guys behind you passing you, but you also don't want to be in P1 at the DRS zones, because otherwise you'll get overtaken by 2-3 people at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there would have been some scenario where I would have gotten P1 if I did it better, but I wouldn't know which overtake it would be.
Very, very nice as well. And still that gives you some good points in the championship as well with a few rounds to go. Are you still confident that you could maybe still have a chance of being in the title fight?
I don't quite know the standings, but I think before this race I was around like 40 points behind the leader. I think it was Lenny Popinta. He also got P4, P5, I think.
P4, yeah.
This race. So I don't quite think I'll be in the championship fight, but maybe I can get P3 in the championship.
That is, I think, a good milestone for you as well. Luke, any questions?
No questions from me. Just congratulations on the race, Leonard.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll let you go and celebrate. A big congratulations to you, Leonard. And Luke, I may as well hand it over to you to interview our third place man, Harvey Cameron.
Yeah, he's now in the interview room then, the man who finished in third place in his first WR race on the PC. Congratulations on a great race. You stayed out quite long in the first stint, longer than anyone else. Was that just to try and get better tyres at the end of the race?
Yeah. Oh wait, can you hear me? Yeah. So I stayed out longer. I don't even know why. It was my first race, and I thought I'd have a bit of fun. You know, I wasn't really racing for anything serious. You know, I'm not in the championship battle or anything. So I stayed out just to see what would happen, and yeah, it kind of caused a bit of chaos on my end. But yeah, it was a fun race.
Yeah, it was a fun race. We saw plenty of the DRS shenanigans that we saw in real life. In the first stint, it looked like Lenny Popinta was reluctant to try to overtake you. Were you lifted off as well in hope that he'd try and pass you and therefore give you the DRS down towards turn number 1, or were you just running your own race at that time?
Some laps I was lifting off, some laps I wasn't. You know, there was points where I thought maybe I could see he was really pushing me, so if he went ahead, our pace would be better. And then there was also times where I felt like I had a bit better pace and could maybe push us a little bit. So, you know, it was a bit 50-50, you know, split on the laps where I lifted off or I didn't.
I'll see if Jess has any questions.
Well, I do have a question for you, actually. I need to remember where we are next week. I think we are at France next week. How confident are you with the final few tracks on the calendar? Because we don't have long until the end of the season. If you are, because obviously you're a reserve, I believe, as well. If you do get called to race again, do you feel happy with the final few rounds on the calendar?
I mean, France, I'm definitely not going to race. It's my least favourite track, so
okay.
I'll make sure I'm busy for that track. But the other tracks, yeah, I'll probably race them. I don't really mind the final couple tracks. I'll just give it my best shot, see what I could do, just have a bit of fun on PC.
Yeah, and obviously seeing that your main platform is on the Xbox side as well. I believe you have a Jeddah race tomorrow as well. Seeing that you have good pace around Jeddah tonight on the PC, does that give you a little bit more confidence you could do something similar on the Xbox side?
Yeah, it gives me a bit of confidence, but I'll probably need to put the practice in. I mean, today was my first day playing in 2 weeks, so I was really rusty, and I'm dreading to think what I'm going to be like on Xbox tomorrow.
They are different platforms, so I could see the difference there. So fair play to you racing on both platforms. I wouldn't be able to do that. So we'll let you go, Harvey. Congratulations on a fantastic debut on the PC side, and best of luck for your Xbox race around Jeddah tomorrow.
Thank you.
Right then, so without further ado, we are going to wrap up the stream there. To be honest, I didn't want the stream to end there, Luke. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
It's I know there's obviously all the different political sides about Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but it looks like Saudi is staying on the calendar. It's going to be tough for them to build a purpose-built track that is going to be as good as Jeddah. It always seems to provide great racing in real life. It obviously always provides in league racing, and today it was Morgan Ball who was able to hold on, really tightening things up in the championship. We've not got long to go now. 3 rounds there. Lex, hold the card next time out. Could be interesting on the strategy. Another one where you've got to be careful on your tyres. You can do soft medium now on this game, but if you take too much of a risk on either the softs or the mediums, don't be surprised if you end up with a puncture.
Yeah, definitely. And France is also a track as well where it is prone to wet weather. Luckily, we didn't see that in Jeddah, but it's more likely that we're going to get some wet weather in France as well. So I hope the drivers have been practicing for the wet weather as well. Well, they got a week to do it anyway. Thank you all to everybody that have been watching at home. Thank you to all the drivers for taking part and joining the second lobby very, very promptly indeed so we could get the racing underway. Obviously, thank you to Luke once again for joining me in the commentary box. And also thank you to our sponsors, Grid Rival and SimStar, for providing stuff. Thank you very much to them. Grid Rival, we have an F1 2022 fantasy league for them, so make sure you check them out. Link in the description. Like we said, if you want some more Jeddah action, we got the Xbox Tier 1 tomorrow at 8 PM. We got Warder and we got Jish, your main commentators for that one, so make sure you check them out and give them some love and support there as well. We've got all the other Xbox tiers throughout the week, as well as PS Tier 1 on at 8 PM on Friday. So we're gonna let you all go. I've been Jessica Ball, Luke's been Luke Etheridge. We will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.
On his debut, Jarno Opmeer wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ron Hart takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow! His contact to get Robber is around.
Melanie, surely it's going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.